Breaking Bad's principal DP Michael Slovis has called his work on the show expressionistic. That means that the visuals don't just convey what can be seen, they convey the feeling of a scene. They make emotions and even ideas visible. In this video, we're gonna look at 4 of Breaking Bad's most distinctive techniques: wide-angle shots, time lapses, object POV shots, and wide and closed shots. And we're gonna show how all 4 of these come together to express the show's existential point of view. Throughout the story, every now and then, these 4 techniques detach us from the action. They make us think about how, from the universe's perspective, our individual egos and struggles are pretty small, and there are larger cosmic forces at play determining our fates more than we can ever perceive or understand. Before we go on, we want to talk a little bit about this video's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is a superb online learning community with thousands of classes about everything: Bitcoin trading, playing guitar, stop-motion animation. Click the link in the description below to get 2 months access to all classes for free. Breaking Bad's love of wide shots is partly circumstantial. The show was shot mostly in New Mexico, where the skyline is gloriously broad, so wider angles make sense when the landscape is that gorgeous and open. But wides are also there for an emotional reason. They give us distance from all the emotional turmoil of the story by showing us the bigger picture, literally. Getting a chance to step back and be impartial is crucial in a series like Breaking Bad, because most of the time you're so invested in the characters that the show might even get hard to watch. There are quite a lot of wides in Breaking Bad, and different ones serve different specific storytelling purposes. Some add epic gravity to a scene. Because what we're seeing is so large, it feels like the events happening are momentous, too. Some wider shots help bookend scenes.
Go home, Walter.
They add a note of finality to what we've just witnessed. There's less movement in wide and especially in aerial shots, so they allow us time to enjoy the composition, like we're watching a subtly moving painting. Like with this aerial shot we get after Gus murders the whole cartel. If this shot were a painting in a museum, it would be called "The Cartel is Now History." Other times, the distance of a wide shot is there to frustrate the viewer, because it doesn't give as much closure and emotional access. In this scene, the cousins are about to execute a man, and we're expecting a dramatic close-up of the moment when the man gets shot, but we cut to a wide angle, and instead of a loud blast, all we hear is the impartial distance of the wide angle shows the futility of all this struggle in a big universe that doesn't care. So the wide angles of Breaking Bad tell us when the stakes are high, bookend certain scenes, and frustrate the viewer's desire to see everything close up. But most of all of these wide shots add a sense of impartiality and distance to the scene. Time lapses do exactly what the word says. They show time lapsing. You watch this and you immediately get the point. Mike and Jesse spend a really long time in the car together.
It's finally hitting me what the plan is here. It's to bore me to death, so... mission accomplished because it's totally working.
And in this case, the time-lapse makes it clear that Walter and Jesse have been cooking for at least 12 hours, so they're pretty engrossed. But there's more to it than that. The show's time-lapses of the open sky with the sun going up and coming back down make it feel like the universe is just rolling along, no matter what. The universe doesn't give a damn about what Jesse and Walt are doing in that RV. So the time-lapse takes us out of the usual context, shaping what we think is big and important. It lets us experience time from a perspective of cosmic impartiality. Everything that's big in an individual life suddenly looks insignificant in these images. And this is striking because the images are undermining the self-importance of the egos and big life-changing dramas that we're witnessing in the story. When Walt is getting chemo, the world keeps spinning around him, not really caring about what he's going through. And this time-lapse perfectly captures his feeling of powerlessness. Whether the time-lapses are featuring society or nature and the cosmos, these visuals are telling us none of what we do matters the way we think it does, and there's a much bigger world going on around us than we can ever really grasp. When we see a POV shot from the perspective of an object, we're often watching something illicit, a secret call being made, a gun being buried, a body being disposed of. This is logical. After all, when a character is doing something wrong, they're probably alone, so we couldn't be watching them from the perspective of another person. But artistically, there's more to this choice than logic. Because we're watching from a lifeless object's perspective, we have no agency. We're fixed, immobile. We don't move, things just shift in and out of our perspective. Or if our perspective does get to move, it's only because someone picked up the object we're attached to, or the object is set up to move in a random way that we can't control. So the visuals are telling us that we, the viewers, have absolutely zero impact on what's going to happen. And when you feel you have no power over your surroundings, you may start watching in a different way. You might stop trying as hard to will the outcome you want through intense emotional investment, and instead, you'll take in the chaos and start observing in a more dispassionate, objective manner. So, just like the wides and time lapses, these inanimate POV shots allow us to see things with more cosmic distance, in a way we can't in our everyday lives. And they remind us how powerless we all are in a bigger sense. Just like that Roomba vacuum, we have almost no impact on the workings of a larger, mysterious universe. The Breaking Bad crew called shots like this one wide and closed. That means that there's something big in the foreground and then something farther away in the background wide. Wide and closed shots combine the effects of two categories we've already seen. They have the distanced epic feel of the wide shots and the impartial witness feeling of an object POV. In Breaking Bad, these shots are often used to convey a sort of calm before the storm feeling. The quiet stillness makes us feel a sense of foreboding, and it contrasts with the frantic action that's about to follow. A powerful example of this type of shot is seen right after Gail Bedeker's murder. The kettle that was boiling after Jesse shot Gail is now in the forefront of the shot.
If they're heading east, tell them there's an Exxon on their left-hand side.
So this shot is intensely ironic. It seems to be saying, if only this kettle could talk. Shots like these also philosophically express that despite all the chaos we've seen, the world hasn't ended, and that makes these images somehow both comforting and unsettling. Overall, these four types of shots are powerful examples of how cinematography shapes storytelling and tone. By making us see that what's happening is inevitable, they allow us, even force us, into a degree of impartiality. Most of the time, Breaking Bad isn't encouraging us to detach. We're feeling intensely for the characters. But then, thanks to these visual techniques, we occasionally zoom out from that subjective perspective to a more godlike view. We see that beyond these characters' struggles, there's this huge universe operating according to its natural laws, no matter what happens in our story. And the characters are operating according to the universe's laws too, even if they think they're breaking them. Once we grasp that, it almost feels like we're watching Planet Earth. We might feel sorry for the animal who's in this predicament, but we accept that this is just how it has to be. The characters of Breaking Bad think they can change things about their lives, about who they are, but we know better, because from our vantage point, we can see that what's happening to them is about as inevitable as the sun rising and setting, or a chemical reaction running its course, and there's nothing we can do but watch. This is Ryan Booth. He was commissioned by Oscar-winning director Alejandro G. Iñárritu to make a documentary about the themes in The Revenant. Booth also teaches a cinematography class on Skillshare.
My goal for you would be that at some point during the point of this project, you're looking at your screen and you go, oh my gosh, this looks like a movie.
That's why we really love Skillshare's service. The classes are taught by amazing, accomplished working professionals in design, photography, social media, business, entrepreneurship, and more. In fact, we use Skillshare to learn more about graphic design and animation to keep improving our videos. They offer 18,000 classes about any skill you might want to learn, all for less than $10 a month. Right now, you can get 2 months access to all their classes for free, but that's only if you're one of the first 500 people who click the link in our description below. It's a great deal, so hurry up and don't miss out.